What's up, Juventini? I got all your Juventus news on this November 23rd, American Thanksgiving. By the way, happy Thanksgiving to all our American friends out there, all right? Enjoy all the NFL action and, of course, the time with your friends and family, all right? And enjoy so responsibly. Now, as far as the news today, we've got Frosinone coming in for another Juventus player. We'll get Juve's reaction to it coming up. We've got Sudakov, which seems like a move that Giuntoli might swing. We'll talk about the details there. And are we at a crossroads with Dusan Vlahovic and Sarri in an interview, having some interesting words that might be speaking to what I've been talking about over this past week during the international break, all right? So all that, much more. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. This is the AJC. Let's rock. Now, first things first, Khéphren Thuram, there are reports surfacing saying that he has in fact been offered to Inter and Juventus. His agent, Raffaella Piemonte. Does that name sound familiar, by the way? It should, because that's Paul Pogba's agent. Look, you owe us, all right? You owe Juve big time for how things played out with Paul Pogba. Help us here, all right? Let's go. Smokes. Let's go. Make it happen. Khéphren Thuram, summer, Juventus. Anyways, his agent says that he is ready for a big club. All right. They are just unsure of what Nice is going to want to do there and what they are going to be looking for the player. But he is ready to make a move and apparently has been offered up to Juventus and Inter. Of course, Inter, where his brother Marcus plays. We'll be following that one the whole way through. I still just don't feel good. On a scale of 1 to 10 about Thuram joining Juventus, I'm probably at like a 2.5, all right? Now, Frosinone coming in for another Juventus player. This time they are looking at a center back and they want Huijsen. They want Dean Huijsen to join for the end of this season. So coming up in the winter mercado, they'd like to pick him up on a loan. Apparently, Juventus has already rejected this one, all right? So they want to keep Huijsen around, sharing his minutes between next gen and whatever he can get with the first team, all right? Obviously, we know Coppa Italia is going to be kicking off in January, so maybe Huijsen could get some more minutes in that competition as well. We will wait and see, but they have rejected Frosinone's interest in Huijsen for the second half of the season. Sudakov, a player that I say is something I could see Juve making a move for even in the winter, not just the summer coming up, all right? And his value is being said to be around 20 million euros. Now, what did I say? All the news says Juve isn't going to make any splashes, any kind of spending, 20 to 30 million euros. However, we still have Iling Jr. around. It doesn't look like there's any contract extension going to happen. It doesn't look like he's going to be getting the minutes. He has interest from Premier League sides, and he's right around that price tag. So maybe a move out makes a move in, but Giuntoli apparently has been following Sudakov for quite some time, even dating back to his time at Napoli, so we will have to wait and see what happens there. But Sudakov could be a legit move that Juventus make, not just in the winter to try and push away other competition, but maybe even setting something up and getting terms agreed to for the summer, because it is said that Sudakov will give his yes to Juventus, all right? So there you go. As far as another target, Juve are monitoring Zaccagni, all right? He is at a stalemate in terms of renewal with Lazio, and this is something that Juve is keeping close tabs on, not just Juventus, but a couple other Serie A sides as well. As far as Calvin Phillips, we heard yesterday that there is no more interest. That's coming from Di Marzio. Well, Mirko Di Natale kind of throwing a contradiction in there that's saying that Phillips still is in play. It's just that he seems more likely to be heading to Newcastle, all right? But Juve hasn't given up interest and completely written him off the books just yet. As far as Jadon Sancho goes, he has rejected an offer from Saudi Arabia, all right? He wants to stay in one of the top leagues. But a move for Juventus is very, very difficult due to his wages and how much the teams taking Sancho would want Man U to still pay for. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see what will happen there. But these guys are still all swirling around. Nobody really knows what the hell Juventus is going to do. Meanwhile, Mirko Di Natale does say that Samardzic, if the conditions are right, is still very much in play for Juventus. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. Now, as far as Federico Chiesa goes, terms, terms are where the stalemate is happening, all right? Juve wants to leave the terms the same. And of course, we're only talking about an extension to 2026. Chiesa wants a revision on the terms. Both parties say this will not create any type of conflict, okay, or confrontation. However, something's going to have to give here. This one is really, really difficult for me to understand when I'm looking at the lack of world-class players on this team, what Federico Chiesa brings. I'm not making a lot of sense out of this one. I think you're not going to, if you would be extremely fortunate to get the terms staying the same, especially based on what some of the other guys are making on this current roster. So I think Juve is going to have to give in a little bit here. The fact that it's only to 2026 isn't really necessarily helping things either. I probably extended a little bit longer if it were me, at least 2027. But the big one here is Vlahovic, because at season's end, Vlahovic is set to have his salary jump to between 20 and 25 million euros gross. All right. So I can't see him doing Juventus any favors and spreading out a renewal, doing anything to spread out the salary or lowering it by any means. I can't see that happening. So we get into a crossroads, in my personal opinion, with Vlahovic, where we always say, oh, go for the outright sale, do all this. Juve's hands may completely be tied in this one, all right? And if a team comes in that has legitimate interest with Dusan Vlahovic, we might have to look at making something work even if we don't want to. So Atletico Madrid, the rumors continue to swirl, saying that they want to go after Vlahovic. However, they want to use one of these counterparts like De Paul or Morata that Juve does have some interest in bringing back. We might have to bite the bullet even if we want outright sale and look at other options. You might have to bite the bullet because this salary is going to be a killer. And right now, with the way things are going at Juventus and a lot of speculation about Vlahovic not necessarily being happy, he hasn't scored in a couple months. Yes, he's dealing with injuries, but that's a whole nother issue as well. He's missed 116 days in his short tenure with Juventus. All this kind of goes in favor of the buying club. So Juve might have to give in here and try to find the best solution. But if you go into another season, his salary ramps up to between 20 and 25 million gross, okay? And then he still isn't performing with maximum efficiency. This is a big, big risk for Juventus. Yes, the deal and everything gets amortized with every year that goes on, but man, it's something you really got to look at and maybe pull the trigger on this summer. So we're at a crossroads with Dusan Vlahovic, and it's getting into some dicey territory. Let's put it that way. It's going to be interesting what happens, but I'm sticking to my guns on this one that one of these guys, Chiesa or Vlahovic, will not be with Juventus potentially next season. And I think this summer it might be Vlahovic that is heading out. All right. I just have a feeling that this summer something goes down. As far as Sarri had some words to say about his time at Juventus that may be speaking to what I've been talking about this past week. He says, it was all about winning the Champions League at Juventus, but it was a convoluted message, okay? And he said he took over a club that had a desire to change style, but not a conviction, all right? So these are interesting words because Sarri, while he was there during that season and everything, he did say, you know, these players are untrainable, whatnot. His ideas were not coming through and whatnot. And they're not playing his style. They did not play his style. They started off the season playing his style, but they just couldn't keep it going. They couldn't figure it out. He had to revert. They had to change everything. It looked like the exact same Juventus we saw the season prior. And everyone was saying he needed his guys. And this is what he's probably speaking to by not having the conviction as they bailed on him after that season. And now I've been saying this. So I've been saying that it's a quality thing with Juventus. Definitely in the midfield. Our midfield needs help. We have a profile we don't even have, period, that's missing from this midfield. But the technical quality, even in a couple of the other guys, for one, it's a lack of consistency. For the other, it's just not at a level that it needs to be at, all right? Now, if we're going to talk about this, how long would it have taken Sarri to implement his style? Could it have been 2 seasons? Could it have been 3 seasons? Maybe. Maybe. Max is in his 3rd season, right? But the quality for me in the midfield is still lacking, and a profile is completely missing. And if we look at Sarri, I think he's a prime example of what I'm trying to say, that no matter who the coach is and what they're trying to do, they need certain quality players, certain skills, certain abilities. And I think that's lacking. If you look at Sarri and a couple of the teams that he's coached at, his style hasn't matched that one that everybody puts a claim to fame to for him, which was at Napoli. I actually haven't seen that recreated by Sarri in quite some time. So it might even go beyond that with him. He might have caught lightning in a bottle with that side. But I think the players have a lot more to do with it than some may want to think. But hey, it's a discussion that's going to be ongoing for quite some time. But for me, we got to boost the midfield. Hopefully something comes. But Sarri's words, he's not wrong. He's right. We wanted to change styles, but we just had that desire, but no conviction because we bailed on it. But it does shine a light on you need the guys to pull through what you want to do. If Pep Guardiola came to this team tomorrow, what do you think the first thing he's going to be doing as far as asking for players? It's going to be in the midfield. That's what I think anyways. But you guys know the drill. I can't wait to hear all of you tee off on this one, all right? Fire away in the comments section. We're getting closer and closer to that Derby d'Italia, all right? And hey, we all remember, you guys know I'm trying to bring the good vibes. Look at this one, 2017-18. Can't remember that Higuain killer to finish off the comeback. Oh man, what a moment. We're only bringing good vibes going into this one. Come the match day, I'll decide which kit I am going to go with for that big one, all right? And maybe we'll leave it to a vote in the comment section. Let me know which kit brings you the best vibes about the Derby d'Italia. Maybe I'll rock that one for Sunday when we do our live show, getting you hyped up. And then, of course, the live watch along. As always, thank you for the support. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Let's mix it up in the comments today, everybody. Fino alla fine. Forza Juve. Ciao a tutti.